All right, welcome everybody. You're listening to On Point in Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Carter. We got a house full today. I'm excited about the show. We're going to have Paul Sadler on today. He's running for U.S. Senate. We're going to be visiting with him. We've got a couple of the topics we want to talk about. Coming in on this discussion, I've got Mary Terry and Mary Ham over here, and Carol's running sound for us today. Go ahead and get the Obama clip ready. There's an issue that bugs me right now, and it's the disconnect with how the Republicans are spinning the war on women, and maybe we're using the wrong term, war on women.
There's not another term, really. No.
Well,
war on men wouldn't work. There hasn't been anything doing against the men.
No.
Okay, but
been taken
from a Democratic perspective, okay, are we ready with the Obama clip? Okay, well, from a Democratic perspective, I think what we're talking about, and what I understood from the very beginning, was that here we are, so many years past the Emancipation Act, so many years past women in the workplace, and yet we still see women not being paid equally. Women are viewed differently in the workplace. Opportunities. I mean, we keep talking about the glass ceiling. Why is there a glass ceiling still? Why are we still talking about that? I'm talking to two women that are sitting here looking at me. I mean, you guys are not.
I have a feeling that some of these thoughts were buried. That they've always had these thoughts. Some of these people, let's say Republicans, have always had these thoughts, especially Republican men, that women maybe were a little inferior. That maybe they should have stayed home in the kitchen, barefoot pregnant.
We got 31...
and they should stay out of politics.
31 senators who voted against the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act.
Okay.
And they're all male. All Republicans.
All right. Seaman, you're talking about violence against women. What are you talking about, violence against women? Let's define that, because...
Well, hitting would be a start.
Okay.
I mean,
so you're talking about physical violence, yes, or emotional violence,
yes, something you would have to
abuse.
flee from. That's what this act was about, was, getting women the tools and the funding for women's shelters, for places that they could go if they were fleeing violence or getting away from it. You've got 31 male senators who basically said, no, you're on your own.
Okay, so all right, so we're talking about violence. Now, when we refer to the war on women,
yeah,
that's positioning it a little bit different, because we're talking about the glass ceiling, the inequality in the workplace.
I think it all kind of goes under kind of one big umbrella.
I don't know, not me, Mary. Actual violence against women.
Well, the whole issue of women being shortchanged, I think, goes under one big umbrella. You have different parts of it.
Well, not to sound like a male chauvinist pig, but that sounds like a woman talking to me. Let's play what President Obama had to say about that.
American life, whether it's the salary you earn or the health decisions you make. Today, women are not just half this country, you're half its workforce. And I believe that the women of this generation, that all of you will help lead the way.
Okay, I missed part of that. We had music playing in the back. Run that clip again. I've got a new sound engineer over here. Carol is sound engineering training.
In every aspect of American life, whether it's the salary you earn or the health decisions you make. Today, women are not just half this country, you're half its workforce. And I believe that the women of this generation, that all of you will help lead the way.
Okay. That's the president's position on what we're talking about when we talk about the war on women. We got Kay Bailey Hutchison actually made a statement yesterday in the news, and it's scary to me that they totally missed it, or she did. And she's our senator right now, and that's the reason I think that this is important is if our senator from Texas representing us understands it this way, it's frightening to me. Let's listen to what she had to say.
I'm saying that the things the Democrats are pushing right now are really beyond what I think is reasonable. We're all against violence against women, and we have supported that unanimously in the past. But then they throw up a bill that they put other things in that are not central to that point, and then they say, oh, it's a war against women if you don't support every part of it. That's the kind of thing that we're tired of. We understand it. The American people are smarter than that, and women are smarter than that. We can make the judgment.
That's what I'm talking about. Her comment, and I agree with her. I agree with the statement in that we are all against violence against women. I'm against violence against women. But is that what we're talking about? And this is our U.S. Senator now that's saying, when we say war on women, we're talking about going out and smacking women around or something like that. And what we're really talking about is something else. And whenever she's talking about, and then they stick something in the bill that, well, maybe she doesn't understand what's stuck in the bill because she doesn't understand the connection of what we're really talking about. This is a critical piece of the dialogue that needs to be happening out there, because I think the Republican spin right now is going to be to try to change the conversation. Try to change it over to whether or not anybody is for or against hitting women. And that's just not what we're talking about. We're talking about women in the workplace. We're talking about whether or not people are respectful in the workplace, and should women be treated any differently than an employee in the workplace. And I think that we've all been in situations where we've seen that's just not the case.
No. We also have this situation where we have half the population, or a little more than half the population, is women, and our representation numbers in Congress to be representative of the nation are nowhere near that. And they recently just did a study, and it would said if we go the current rate we're going to get to where we are equally represented in Congress, they say half are women, half are men, it's going to take about another 100 years at the rate we're going.
Okay, but see, I don't subscribe to the idea that I have to be a woman to understand those issues. And I think that if we get fair-minded people in there that honestly address those things, and hopefully we'll get Paul Sadler on the microphone here in a little bit. Maybe we can talk about this a little bit more. Maybe he wants to talk about something else. We'll see where we want to go with that. But right now, I guess that's the thing that's bugging me, is that we're talking seriously, and especially in the state of Texas. I mean, there is legislation that went down in the last legislative session that truly was
intrusive.
It was intrusive. It was harmful to women, and the men that were in charge of that didn't seem to have a big issue with it. And I have to look at our representation and question: are we listening to everyone?
I don't think so.
And my thing is, I mean, this legislation that passed, it passed without a lot of attention being given to it. Where was the media hype that was with the other states where it didn't pass? You know, where it was knocked down.
Rachel Maddow was on every night, basically giving the governor of Virginia a hard time about the probe bill, and it was the exact same bill almost that Texas had, and we did not get any attention at all. You know, and he was being put under a microscope, and you know, basically had to backtrack some because everybody, when they started paying attention, realized what was going on, and he started getting phone calls to his office and everything like that. Texas got nothing. You know, we got no representation. We got, and like Mary said, we got nothing in the national media when all those same bills were coming through our legislature. So, I mean, is it just because we're from Texas and it's like, oh, well, we expect them to be that backward, or?
You know what? I'm getting a real sense that we got someone that wants in this conversation. I want to go. I want to go ahead. Paul Sadler's in the room with us, and Paul, I want to welcome you to On Point Southeast Texas. We are Southeast Texans. We're not ashamed of the fact that we will state publicly we're Democrats. We're proud of the fact that we stand for the working class folks of Texas and this country. We are truly not communist, even though someone on the Facebook page the other day said that I was a communist. But that was a compliment. I must be on message whenever they attack me, and that's the best they can come with is I'm a communist. But welcome to the show, Paul. You got any comments on this disconnect that we're seeing? You're going to step into the fray on this one, aren't you?
Just a few.
Just a few?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It's great to be back in East Texas. I'm from East Texas, northeast Texas, up in Henderson, north of Nacogdoches, in that area. And I've been traveling around the state. It's a very big state and a very diverse state, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I have a lot of thoughts on this issue. It's called the War on Women. We watched it start in Texas down here in the last legislative session, where amendment after amendment was being offered, most oftentimes by men, occasionally by a female, on issues concerning sonograms, funding of Planned Parenthood. It seemed like every bill that came before the legislature, an amendment was offered to strike at the heart of women's health care. I know Senator Hutchison. I've known her since she was first elected treasurer. When my young son was hurt, seriously injured, Senator Hutchison wrote me a very personal letter, a note that I really deeply appreciated. When I left the legislature, and I served from 91 to 2003, was chairman of public education during those years and several other committees, she wrote me a very nice note congratulating me on my service. I think that the phrase war on women probably sets them back considerably. But if you look at the policies that are taking place, I don't think for a minute that some political strategist said, let's go attack women in this country. I mean, he would be a fool to do that. But the policies that are being implemented, not only in the state of Texas, but all across this country right now and being pushed by the Republican Party, certainly attack women's rights and their issues. And so the war on women is a good catchphrase for the media, and it's what we do in politics today, which I think is what's so wrong. Instead of talking about the merits of the issues, we get hung up on the phrases, or who can be the smartest, who can give the smartest phrase or the smartest negative comment, and it's destructive to all of us.
We've actually become a soundbite society, so I mean we've got a very short attention span.
That's right. I mean, we either call each other conservative, liberal, or we call ourselves. I think and down here you're called a trial lawyer, or you're called something else. And so everybody's got to have a phrase that they assign to instead of talking about the merits of the issue. But the merits of the issue are important. It's who has the right. Does a woman have the right to control the medical care that she receives? That's the subject matter. Yes. Does a woman have the right to decide what is done to her body? Or does somebody else have that decision? And if you did that to a man, we would be marching in the streets. If you said to a man, we're gonna control what medical decisions are made for you, and we're going to control what tests you have to have, we would all grab guns and go to the street. I mean, we would go crazy. But that's what's been proposed for women. It is much broader than that. It includes equal pay for equal work. It includes educational opportunities. It includes everything. You know, I'm 57 years old. And I have this stark realization as I went through elementary school and middle school and high school of a shift and then into law school, of a shift that was taking place within our society. When I was younger, males held positions. And it was the stereotype. You know, I was born in 1955. The stereotype, women, you got married, you raised families, you stayed in the home. But with my generation, as we moved through elementary school and middle school, we started electing class presidents that were girls. And in middle school, were girls.